So I don't remember the format I did it, but I think I did last to their last, right? All right, so yeah, I think I'll do last to their last and then do mids, maybe. Actually, we'll do mids first. Mids are the most important part. So on this map, generally, you're going to fast roll out every time, or at least do a partial fast rollout. So a lot of people, I was talking about this earlier, but a lot of people do it off this, but it's so much slower than if you can learn how to do it off the left wall. And that gets you there so much faster. And then here is where you can decide what you actually want to do. Like, for example, if you want to play a passive, if they're going left every mid and you want to try and counter it, you can roll out your own IC. Sometimes you may be useless. Your team needs to go right, because if they go left, you're kind of, I guess it doesn't really matter. You're just not doing anything. So that's a mid. Sewer doesn't really ever happen unless their soldier goes sewer and you want to kill him. But usually the two choices you have are either you fast roll out onto the high ground and shoot down at the demo, you land on the demo, or you just spam choke, stuff like that. So you have a couple things you can do. This is usually a good spot. You're going to get hit by a sticky at some point, so eventually you should drop off, stuff like that, jump away. And yeah, general rule for me at least is if the demo is like behind this line, the likelihood you're going to kill him is somewhat low, because you're either going to have to hit a really good direct or you have to hit an air shot, something like that. Otherwise you're going to insta-give. And if they go left, it can be kind of annoying, but this is kind of a bad place to be if their demo's like all the way over here, because if anything, you just juggle him up and he goes over there and then your team kills him across, stuff like that. And then if they go for the pack and you're fast enough, try and get a like good rocket and deny the pack at least by just standing over it and stuff like that, just to keep their demo in check. Other rollouts you can do are like, oh no, I didn't record. I'll just screen record the start of it. It's gonna be annoying. But so other mids you can do are you do the fast route, but you don't actually commit, where you just slide off this and you keep good health, you spam, usually play around here. Thanks for the sub, Alpha. Usually play around here, you know, spam the rock, spam the demo. It's basically, you don't do the fast rollout to keep your health. You keep good health, you probably will get crit heals eventually, or at least you'll be like 200, instead of doing a fast route, potentially getting tagged by the demo, counterbombed by their soldier, and just being out of the mid for a bit, having to get bowed. It's just a safer mid if you don't like doing that. And then for the rest of mid, after a fast rollout, usually you're going to end up around the right side. And you can, if you end up here and they go left, you get so much spam. The only problem is if people push you, then you just have to concede, get away, stuff like that. But if they go left and you're on right, that is free spam city. Especially if you play here, you can get a health pack. Only worries like a high bomb, maybe someone their IT, stuff like that. Bombs you can generally do is almost always off this thing, because it's so good. So if they're going left and you're on right, you can do that, land on something like Seagull, on top of them, on top of sewer, on top of the high ground. Or usually if you're doing wrap mids, a lot of the times it is. So best way to explain it is, for example, if they are going left side and there's someone still lurking around, like on the rock and like somewhere around this area, what you can do is, instead of trying to commit on the combo, just cut off the player that's caught out and then have someone like a scout come with you. Then you get a free pick and get a 6v5 on mid. And that's just like, if you see someone caught out, call it, be aware of that. Otherwise, there's a couple mids you can do. Like there's an aggro, your team pushes across point. So what you do is you high bomb off this. And okay, one thing, if scouts play here, just don't mess with them. Like, they're in such a good spot. They're gonna have beam every time. They're on something they can jump on and off of. If you see someone there, land here, because that means they're not on the crates. You can be on the crate and get good spam and pressure because you high bombed, stuff like that. If you want to go left side, you don't usually need to do a high bomb, but you can. But you just need to make sure that no one really can get on you around here. A lot of the times, one of your soldiers should be pressuring their demo, either playing like right here, spamming them, because if you're going left side, a lot of times their demo is going to try and sticky the pack or stick you on the cross, stuff like that. So you got to be aware of that. Keep their demo in check. Those are the general mids. I don't know if I said this last time, but don't take this as fact. This is purely an outline. 2 seasons ago, I was still playing though. I want to keep some secrets, you know. But yeah, so mainly I don't even know what I'm saying. Don't take it as fact. Hiding in sewer. Hiding IT is okay. Sewer is kind of, I guess it could work. It's the same thing like with the map with Sunshine, is you're trading out any pressure or damage you can do in the fight for potentially getting like a sneak play. So like I said on Sunshine, if they're going left every minute and it's working, you can't do anything, go IC. But I don't think this should be a default unless you're really bad at mids and you can't really get stuff going or you keep getting picked early. Then try not to do this because you have really low impact unless they do something that lets you have impact. But same thing with sewer. But I don't usually hide in stuff like that because I like to try and make stuff happen, like early parts of mids. But yeah, whatever you feel like is best for you. So now I'm probably going to go from last to last. So holding last. Generally, your combo's going to hold. Either your demo's going to be in these doors or you're going to be in these doors at 1. So if your demo is in lobby shooting that, you're going to play at 1. You're going to hold 1 and 2. Make sure you don't get sniped. It's a bit rough because if a sniper peeks 2, you kind of just die if they hit a headshot. And if they peek 1, then you get a warning. And you can kind of back up. But the whole goal on a lot of these times where you're playing alone is to get a spot and get, like, just stall them. Get spam, stall them. You know, just delay. Stuff like that. Usually you don't really want to peek rollout because if you get juggled, you're caught, then you're down a roamer. Then one side of the map's open. Not really worth it unless you're trying to counter sack, which usually your clear sticks here, and then you jump through, something like that. That was a bad jump, but there, it's pretty good. But if your demo plays 1, a lot of the times you're going to be playing in 4/5, where your pocket's probably on 3 with beam, and then you're over here. So usually how I play it a lot of the times, at least with even Ubers. So even Ubers, I usually play in lobby, getting a spot on 5. You know, you can't usually get caught as long as you're just aware of if you see a soldier, back up because they're probably going to jump at you. And then just get spam out, leave, stuff like that. Just make sure getting info. There's maps where you can get info for such little risk that there's no reason not to do it. And you should try and calm it because this is like the best angle on this last to see out of. So, you know, this is free. See this? Oh, look. I can see if they're coming lobby. I can see if they're going 1. I can see if they have a sniper. I can see feet. Only worry is if there's a sniper lower lobby and he headshots you. But usually, unless you do this every time and they really want to get a pick on you. Well, that's weird. I didn't notice this. Yeah, but stuff like that. This corner's pretty bad. Like, I don't know how wide it is, how wide you are, and how easily you can see. But eventually, someone's probably going to see it. And unless you get a force, it's kind of not worth it. Because it's hard to get a pick. Because most people are usually full buff, stuff like that. And then, so let's say they go in lobby and they don't have a sniper. So most time you're going to be around here watching 4 and 5, getting buffs every now and then, playing here, maybe getting on the high ground, spamming it, stuff like that. Just make sure you stall them. That's the main thing. Stall them so you can have someone rotate with you and you can take a better fight than a 1v1 or a 1v2. And if they have a sniper, most of the time, snipers are going to go 5 to try and get a shot here, there. Sometimes, usually not. People usually don't snipe like this, but snipers could be upper lobby. Just be aware. Shoulder peek stuff. If you don't play CF, shoulder peeking is just getting a very quick peek where they can barely see you. I don't know how models actually work in this game. I think they can see your head, but yeah, just getting info like that. If you know they have a sniper, a good spot to play is usually right here. Right here, so you can't get sniped from there. And just make sure you can, when you see the sniper, you shoot his feet so he can't headshot you. And then if they do get in, then just keep peeking, jiggle peeking, stuff like this. And if they go 4, then you can always just play here, jump. Yeah, I uploaded the first one. I have to edit a little bit because I didn't record the first part. But yeah, so usually that's how you're going to play on last. Pushing out, every map, you're going to need to talk to your team. How do you want to deal with pushing out? Sometimes you have to... Sometimes your demo goes 1. Sometimes you have to go 1. Usually demos, I don't know. Sometimes you take a demo through lower lobby and Uber, so you're going to play here. So most of the time how it's going to work is as soon as your team Ubers out, most of the time they should see if someone's by 1. But there's an off chance someone's hiding like right here and you don't see. But just take it slow. Let other people get in because if you're Ubering in, you're not really needed for aggressing. Just make sure you don't get back at. Make sure you don't lose. A lot of roamer is making sure you don't lose, at least how I used to play. And then what you can do is just clear this, And if anything, have your audio on. Make sure you have audio because you can always hear if the shutter opens. So if you're in rollout, you hear that, someone's in one. Then you can just turn around, pre-fire this, stuff like that. And if anything, rollout, play it slow. There could be traps on this door, that door. Make sure you're patient. Make sure to check and hold this area so no one can cap through there. Because the only ways people can really back cap is through 1. 2 doesn't usually happen unless it's like in transition or something. Upper IT to lobby is super, like people usually hide here in one of these corners and then push while you Uber after you Uber in. Or if people are trying to be like sneaky, you play lower IT and then as soon as they pop through, you wait a sec, you see the scout run by, and then you run through lower lobby. And it usually catches people off. But most of the time you're playing 1. If you're not playing 1, you're playing in lobby. Not usually, but there can be a lot of pressure because it's hard to actually get the back cap because the last is so close to second and it's kind of small. But usually you can pull people back. But if your demo goes 1 or something, you're gonna have to hold upper lobby. So like I said, you know, take it slow. Soldier could bomb here. Soldier could bomb here. Play the health pack. Play the corners. Play with your flank scout, or if he's not there with your demo, then just play it safe. Like I said, clear this trap. Traps could be in the light. No one really does that. This corner. And then just hold here for a second. And then as your team gets in, you should be able to start getting cap time. Then maybe you can walk here, or you can go over there, get a buff. Stuff like that. All right, so that's holding last with Uber add, disad. Well, actually, I didn't talk about disad. But disad, same thing. Usually you're just going to get a... This is super out of order. I didn't organize this at all. But usually, like I said, you're going to get a peek here, back up, either get resup and then get crit heals from your med who's above, or you just... Okay, general rule, never have 2 soldiers in resup. One should always be either top or just on the other side of the Uber so you can contest point. Because if they just trap you and spawn, you're going to lose because your soldiers can't contest. And this map is super heavy on soldier contests. So you're either going to have your pocket usually playing on the opposite side where they can just jump in, pressure, fade off, and just make sure you keep juggling the point until your demo or you get Uber or like a heavy comes in. Gardener roamer, it doesn't matter really. If you're good with the market gardener and you want to like sub out having like that escape value of trying to run away with weak HP. What makes this map easy? It's so easy to bait cap. So what I mean is usually when teams Uber, they Uber through a door like 4, your demo bombs or walks, kills the gun, and then the scout immediately can bait this point while having Uber. So you need to contest it really quick while your team's rotating. So while they're rotating, you need to jump on, but no, they're probably going to get flashed. So you have to not commit most of the time. Stuff like that. And you just play it like that. You got to keep contesting. And it's so easy to contest. It's so easy to knock sticks off point. One rocket on point always knocks it off. And you just got to make sure. Because there's been so many times where people just cap during their Uber and it's just over. Or if they get big cap time, it's basically over. All right, so that's last. Second, generally, if it is, they're going to sack soldiers. And like it's a stalemate. Usually you're going to have your soldier in here watching it. Make sure you don't get caught. It's really hard to get caught. The only time is if they hit a pogo, like slide on the ramp and juggle you, and then you can maybe get a trade, but just spam it, then leave, and then just, while you're leaving, shoot this, because this is like the only way they can really kill you. When you contest point, do you jump onto it or fade away or behind? Usually you want to fade away, because at least if they have Uber still, depending if they have Uber still, if they have Uber still, you try to fade, because otherwise you're a free pick. If they don't, and you can, and if the scout's not looking, then commit and then get the scout pick and then try and jump away. Stuff like that. Or if you really want, like you said, you could fade into lobby. But the problem is either A, you don't have resup and you have to go for the pack, or B, you're super weak. I don't know what this sound is. Thanks for the host, Charlie. But yeah, so if you go here, just know people are going to be turning around looking for you. But usually you want to fade away unless you can get a free scout pick. But so for IT holding, like I said, once you see someone back up, spam this while leaving, because that's the only way you can really get juggled and caught. And then after that, spam the floor so a scout can't chase you, stuff like that. And then play back here. It's probably the safest place. And you get really good sight line. You cut off the one thing that people can do through IT other than walk into your pocket is flank lobby. So just play here. Worst comes to worst, you get a buff. And you keep doing that. But you just cut off all the places they could go, all the avenues of breaking it. That's usually how you're going to play when that happens. If they go Al-Qaeda, give me a second. If they go Al-Qaeda, depending on what happens, usually you want a scout at least looking at lower, but that's a bad spot. So usually you spam, you look over, or you just keep playing in IT to make sure nothing happens, and at least spam a rocket before you go. So if it gets a hit, like a damage, you get the sound, then you know someone's there. But like play here and then go back and check. Just keep doing that. If you're covering IT and you want to go forward, make sure to clear this corner. Make sure to clear these. Just know all the hiding spots. Stuff like that. On this map, it feels much more difficult to counter-sack from IT than just having your pocket do it. So you're saying in this situation they sack someone you want to sack? Yeah, usually your pocket is in a better spot, so they should usually sack. Unless your team's like super, super strict where it's like roamer only sacks, but they can get a buff, spam there, and get a good bomb with 300 HP. And you can poke IT. And if anything, if no one's here, then you can bomb in from either like back here, try and get a pogo on the med, and stuff like that. But usually you can pressure IT, just don't get caught. And if you're pressuring alone, you're probably going to get caught because they're not looking at anything else. But usually that's how that works. If they have Uber ad, most of the time you're going to play 2 soldiers on high ground and have a scout watch lower IT just because spamming Al-Qaeda and choke is way more important than having a soldier in IT, and the scout could do the same job from here. HUD is MK HUD, but yeah, most of the time you want to scout here just because they're not really doing much in a force situation, and they're not going to get caught most of the time because they can just leave. But yeah, so play up here so you're able to spam choke, sewer, Al-Qaeda. If they come IT, then play either here so you can get a spam on lower and upper, or play here. Seagull sack. That's not a... so I'm assuming what you're saying is if they push like choke, and you try and get a bomb like that. Usually, this is just super bare bones. This is what you should be doing. Going for individual plays is what you want to do. Like what I used to do sometimes is purely off timing. I just pre-fire bomb this and try and get a sync kill. And either you get a lot of damage, a sync kill, or you get nothing and then leave, but you have worse HP. It works. It's worked a lot for me, at least. Otherwise, you can do a pre-fire jump on choke, where he uses demo, has sticks, scout is staring at the sky, stuff like that. And so most of the time going for solo plays like that, you kind of have to risk reward it, because if you do a solo play like that and you don't get the force, most of the time they're getting second for free without popping. So it depends how confident you are, how good of a bomb you have, and like if you get spam on their med. Because if you get 80 damage on their med, sacking is such a good play then, because you only have to get 1 rocket, and depending how confident their med is, you're usually going to get a force. But most of the time, spamming is the correct play. But so playing the point with flank scout spotting, that is on disad. So the whole thought behind it is scout's not going to do much during disad if you're just getting info, and a soldier's going to do way more if he's not locked in IT, where you can double soldier spam, Al-Qaeda, choke, stuff like that. And then you can usually keep good HP instead of being in IT where you can just get here, get a buff, and keep doing it. Stuff like that is usually how you want to play second. And solo plays, do it at your own discretion, but this is usually the correct play in most scenarios. All right, so pushing into mid. Most of the time you're going to be in IT, and it's not great because you can't really initiate. Usually your pocket's going to have to initiate on this map. Or you have a flank scout push IT where they can get bullied by a soldier, which you do you. If you really want, there's a bit of a risk to it. If you want to play IT until your team gets a spot on the IT door and then leave, then that's fine. Or you have a scout watch IT while your team goes choke, and then you can clear choke, jump through, stuff like that. Make sure someone's clearing sewer, like these 2 corners, and then I guess against this thing. But most of the time how you're going to break into mid, let's say, so counter sack, I guess I'll go with, but usually it's just this. You jump in like that. Or if you want to try, they 2-man, you pressure, you can try and get someone through sewer. Like, I know a strat I had that never really happened is, so what you can do is, usually teams are playing on the left side, so you high bomb, clear sewer for your scout, and then you have 2 people. Your scout comes out, and then you have 2 people here, and you can take a 2v1 and like stretch out their defense over and over again. But that's kind of situational and a bit more like coordination. But yeah, so pushing mid. So with Uber ad, a lot of the times, either like I said, you're going to be in IT, and all you got to do is watch it and make sure no one backcaps, or you're going to jump through choke to make space. Make sure you live, because if you die while you're trying to push and your team's getting spammed, that's bad. What you want to do is either A, land on a demo who's too close, land on a soldier on high ground and trade damage so they can't spam, but your health's bad, you may get caught, but you're helping your team get in. Stuff like that. Try and land in if you're going like that. That's usually how you play it. If you guys have ad and you're trying to pop in, then you're usually going to play it slow, because most of the time you don't need to get picks. And if your team Ubers through IT, a lot of the times you should probably be around here where you can see choke and see sewer, and just guarantee you don't get backcapped. If you want, you could play in here, and if they go choke, then just get the health pack and then get players to help you fight the people. But usually you just need to play it safe. Make sure you're not getting backcapped. As soon as that happens, then you can start clearing stuff, there. General hiding spots, these crates, that corner on like that. So if you're pushing mid, this corner on this side, these crates, that corner up there. It is kind of more of a pocket thing, but sometimes you want 2 soldiers there. But it's at lower levels, you don't usually need it. So most of the time you're going to be playing in IT. It's just like a bit more advanced, I guess. But like those are the main hiding spots. And I guess that's pushing into mid. Stuff like that. Now, holding mid is going to be a lot of you here until if you want to sack, then your flank scout plays around here, and then you go choke or sewer, get a buff, bomb in, stuff like that. A lot of the times there's like 3 things you can do to really do something on this stalemate, which is super boring, is either A, you try and catch their roamer, or get someone behind by doing a jump. Usually you won't speed shot, but you pogo slide on the ramp. Try and catch the soldier. If you trade, that's good for you, because then you can run a scout behind more easily, because there's no roamer. And a lot of that is you pressure, try and get a pick, try and get someone behind, or you pressure for a sack from choke or something. But that's one way to do it. Second way is either you go choke, your combo goes IT, your combo goes Al-Qaeda, try and draw eyes, pull people forward, stuff like that, and then you just jump through choke, land on the med, land on the demo. If you see someone caught out, or a soldier's in IT and your scout wants to push, you could always land here and try and get him, but most of the time you get traded. But that's usually a positive trade if you really want. Stuff like that. Another sack is through Al-Qaeda. I think everyone knows this bomb. Everyone knows the choke bomb. Everyone knows this bomb. It's super, predictable, because you see the guy walk through, and then you see him have to jump across this thing where a scout usually can play. It's not the best. But another thing is, if you want to not sack and you want to just try and duke it out with your team, high bomb and don't commit and just buy space so your team can walk through Al-Qaeda and get ground. But usually that's how you're gonna try and break a stalemate. Holding mid against ad, a lot of the times, either if you want to get an early spot, a scout can usually do this, but you can do this too, is just play here. You usually see someone, if you hear they're coming choke, then come out, get spam, get on high ground spam, things like that. You're going to be playing around this side most of the time. If anything, if you want to take spam and take no damage, play here. Or if you want to push flank with your flank scout, if you notice they're playing 5 on this side and just a roamer here, then try and get, as soon as they about to come choke, go through here so they can't really spot you and no one can really help. And if they do, then your team will call it, you leave, you delayed them. So for example, you push IT and your team sees, oh, they're turning around to deal with you. All right, then just give up it, go back on mid. You bought a lot of time and now you're in the same position. You can just spam again. That's usually how you fight against Uber ads. And once again, you can bomb, but it's not the best, because look at all this just empty space that you have to jump into. A scout can be on the rock. And it's kind of rough unless you get damage or you have some distraction. That's mainly that. Pushing into second with Uber ad or player ad or something. Most of the time, like I said, you're going to be IT. You don't need to be. A lot of the times being IT is kind of useless, besides just making sure you're not getting backcapped and Playing IT on this map, you're more of a second contact thing. Your roamer's going to be doing a lot of or your pocket's going to be doing a lot of the space making. But as soon as they start looking away, you can try and like slip behind, you know, get on people, roll out, jump on their med 1, and catch people out. You're just not doing roamer things, really. Is Pain Train worth it for roamer? I think it is if you use it. If you like play 4 back caps, you cap. For example, a lot of times on teams recently, I've been capping second instead of my scouts because having 2 scouts on this map, in most maps, pushing to last is way better than a roamer. And then you can get pre-fire on these doors. The only worry is someone can test a bit easier. But usually it's pretty good. Because during the Uber, a roamer's not going to really do much. And then you can come in post, get a crit heal, or come in, roll out late, get C stuff, and yeah, stuff like that. And you can also threaten a back cap, threaten a second back cap, things like that, speed up mid. Most of the time I don't usually run Pain Train to mid, just because 10% on mid capping doesn't really matter as much. And just have 0 bound to loadout preset B, which is just Pain Train, and then I have my reset bind to loadout preset A. So yeah, so usually if they're going IT, or if your team's Ubering or pushing through not here, you're going IT. And if anything, you can have, you peek this, then go forward, and then just keep in the back of your head, there's a timing where they could push if you want to stay with the team and try and have like 6 people, you know, get a lot of pressure with 2 soldiers instead of just 1. Stuff like that. If your team is going through IT, choke's usually the place. Just be aware of soldier bombing, and then if anything, you can bomb through, land here. Just watch out for traps. Usually what happens. And then, so let's say, I think I covered most of getting into second. So now holding second against Uberad, most of the time you're either going to be playing up here. Usually a pocket plays there, or your roamer plays here. Just so you can get a spot on upper, get a spam, and if possible or needed, you can peek over and spam down. Most of the time you don't play rollout because it's just like, if they go 1, they're just going to get spammed to all hell by both your soldiers. If they go rollout, same thing. It's a smaller door too, and you don't really have any vision on if you're pushing out from last through 2. And this is usually a good spot, because if they all go through lower and you and your scout want to push, you can do like this jump, which is kind of hard, but you get through the door pretty quick, and then you can try and ambush someone and take a 2v1, a 2v2. I'll get into that in a second, but I just want to deal with this part. So yeah, usually you either spam and you leave choke, you spam, you leave IT. Problem is a scout, if they really want you, they can run through lower and catch you. Or you go for a back cap through either here, or if you really want, you could play, like I said, here and try and hide. Because most people don't usually look over here, and then either go 1 or sneak up on rollout, or sneak up and get a force/drop. But stuff like that, usually what you do. If it's even Ubers, most of the time, either a pocket, or demo, or a scout is going to be holding out on second. Like watching 1 and 2, make sure you don't get flanked without being known. And then most of the time, you're going to be in lobby, sacking through one of these doors. A lot of times, you're going to have to spam a gun down first, which either from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, any of those doors, depending where the gun is. Most of the time, guns on point, like either one of these front points. It's kind of useless if it's in spawn, if it's even Ubers, but yeah, you need to get rid of that gun. Most of the time, 5 is probably the easiest door, just because this. Only problem is the soldier's just going to be on this, or somewhere around here just spamming you and doing a lot of damage. So just be aware of that, you know. If you die, it's not that big of a deal, but just try and do it safe. The only problem is, once again, I didn't cover this, but Sniper 5 shooting you, which could be super annoying. But yeah, getting rid of the gun first. If they don't have a gun and they're playing pretty heavy on left, what you can do to make a bunch of space is just get into nest like this. Because either a soldier's going to have to jump after you, or a scout's going to turn, and then you can turn it into a 2-man where you pull people away from the door, your scout can come in, and then you can just bomb in, commit, do damage to the med, get a force. Stuff like that. Other ways you can sack is through 3 and 4. A lot of the times this map turns into a sniper fest. Sacking through 2 doesn't usually happen because most likely you're going to get spotted, but like I said, you can spam gun from here as well. Only problem is you're probably going to die because it's a box, and if a demo walks at you, you're dead. Mainly stuff like that is pushing last. I think that's everything for that. If you are pushing last with Uberad, I don't like going rollout most of the time because a lot of times it's kind of useless. Because, like, look at this. So if you were through 4, they kite left, and you're here, you are a target. You are a target to be shot instantly by anyone. And I usually like going lobby because you can trail the Uber, get a crit heal, make sure you clear, like, sticks from the door. Usually this is a good spot. And then shoot a rocket at point. One of your soldiers on every last needs to shoot a rocket at point so you can cap. So usually what I like doing is either you have a demo hold spawn door or you have a soldier shooting it. And then you commit together. Soldier, your pocket's usually top or one of you's top. And then you all commit across point together. Soldier pushes top, you push there. Demo pushes cross like around here. And then you bait cap while doing it. And most time right spawn, they won't come out. And stuff like that. So you commit together, you get pressure, and then because it's pretty easy to kite on this map and deal with soldiers if you have a heavy, because a heavy's just here in spawn door just shooting soldiers and peppering with like super low risk. So you need to do it together so you can burst kill that heavy. I think that's everything on the map. I'll get to the questions. So what about off-classing as roamer on last? You can do it because scout is somewhat useful. I've seen people run like roamer as NG, but I said earlier it's really important to contest, so being stuck in respawn is not usually what you want, and a lot of the times you should have a NG sniper most of the time, and then the NG switches to heavy, stuff like that, because yeah, if they go 5, you don't want to be caught out where they're just going to get all the way through because you don't have a sniper. You need to have someone pressuring this door to make sure they pop. And then yeah, like I said, you have to contest. And most of the time, you don't need scout speed to get across. You just have a soldier up here with your demo. And then, what's the other one? Is high sense better for roamer? High sensitivity is like, as long as you can use it, it's good. Usually a higher sense for soldier, I think people say are good, but I use like a 11-inch 360. As long as it's not too high or too low, you should be fine, except in rare cases. Like there's definitely rare cases, but the general, like, acceptable sense range, I think, is like 2 to like 12, right? Because otherwise it gets too fast or like too slow, especially for soldier. You want it a little bit fast so you can, jump, turn around. Did I talk about sacking out of last and into? Yeah. I talked about it earlier. So if you want to watch the VOD, or I'll upload a video in a bit. But I think that's everything. Yeah, no, those are the extremes. And Jay switched as well. Jay's not on 1 anymore, I'm pretty sure. It's literally just whatever you can make happen. But if you stay within that range, it's usually going to be it's going to be easier and more like general. I think that's everything I have for this map. I'm gonna... Not many fancy sacks now. This map's really boring with sacks and a lot of roamer stuff. It's pretty bare bones. A lot of the game is combo. Because you're going to be in IT half the game. Whichever side of the map you're going to be by IT half the game and stuff like that. So I think that's it. I have to screen record my VOD for earlier so I can make a video. But yeah, I think that is it. If you have any questions, I'll stay around for a couple minutes. But I think that's all. How do I get out of DM slumps? We actually answered this on the golden cap earlier. So, or golden cap, whatever. Just try something different. If, I don't know what you're doing. If you're playing a bunch of pugs and it's not working, opinions on hard boost spot, is that this? I don't remember what the hard boost spot is. I can't get up there. Why can't I get up on the spot? Is it not on the side? Oh, there we go. All right. It's good. But roof above enemy sewer. Is that really hard blue? I've never heard anybody call that hard blue spot. Here, the only problem is you're kind of trading off getting good spam and angle for like a potential bomb that, as you get higher and higher, it's going to be more and more predictable because the people have seen it more often. So it's kind of just what works for you. If you want to use it and if it's your thing, don't overuse it though, because eventually people are just going to bait you out and kill you. But yeah, usually I like playing here and then having your pocket play on either that crate or on top of sewer so they can get spam if they go there. Stuff like that. You're missing really easily. I don't know. Usually when I got in slumps, either I placebo changed rocket launchers or, I remember there were times where it's like, oh, I really need to DM a lot, and I DM'd so much, but then like one season I'm like, you know what, I'm just not gonna do it, and then I go into scrims and I feel pretty good, better than if I MG'd and stuff. But you just need to mix it up. If something's not working for you, don't do it. If you're not having fun and you're just grinding because you're on a team and you feel obligated, usually it's not, you're not gonna be the best. I covered this earlier, so I'll like touch on it, but I touched on it a bit more earlier. Facts on switching about, yeah, it's just like it's like scout main switching sense and HUDs. It's the equivalent. It doesn't really mean anything. It just kind of mixes it up and changes stuff. What do you think about wall bugs? They're there. I don't really like them because it's like, should I really have to look at every single diagonal wall in the skybox and hope I don't just get landed on? Like, I can't hit the wall bug, but you can get up there. Rolling out PC. Like I said earlier, if they're going left every time and it's working, you want to beat it, go IT. Get a call. Have your pocket bomb when you want to peek, so they're at least looking the other way, and then get in, get some spam, get some damage, commit on something if you want. But going IT every mid is kind of getting rid of your early presence for kind of gambling on that they're going to go your side. So you're trading out a lot of early damage for if they go IT, you're going to have a really good mid most of the time. I think that is that. I think that's all the questions. Yeah, about the slumps, just try something else. If you're not having fun playing TF2, you probably shouldn't be playing it, at least as much as you are. Just make it fun. TF2, unless you really, really want to be like a top player, then don't make yourself play if you don't want to. Missed the mid talk? Yeah, it's in the beginning. I need to re-record mids for my VOD, but I think that's all. I'm going to end it. If you have any questions, I guess ask it in the YouTube comments and I'll get to it eventually. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll upload this in a bit.